All right, thank you for joining us and welcome back. Now, quickly, we go to Congo. Congo is one country. It's due for an election. We have the Congolese Labour Party and a couple of other. But currently, Joseph Kabila is the president. Yes,
that's right.
Okay, and Joseph Kabila has spent his 2 terms.
He has.
Okay, now tell us, so what is going on in Congo? There should be an election very soon, hopefully. Give us the scenario in Congo.
Well, like you summed up, the situation in the Congo at the moment is just unconstitutional, to the fact that Joseph Kabila, according to the Congolese constitution, has spent his 2 terms in office. He had to organize elections and leave the office for the next president. He has made himself an unlawful president in the way that he has neither organized the elections and he has not left the office and clinging on to the power. Subsequently, you have a lot of killings going on around the country. It is presumed that he's trying to embrace the whole country in an armed conflict in order not to do the elections and at the same time organize a referendum that will change the constitution so he can remain in power. And oppositions and Congolese populations are trying their best to barricade his way.
His term ended on the 8th of December, on the 19th of December.
That's right.
Prior to that time, he ought to have organized an election.
That's right.
So, 6 months prior to that time, political parties in Congo did not see any sign of Mr. President Kabila trying to put up an election, showing any sign of living out after 19. So what have they done? What are they doing? What did they not do?
The situation in Congo is actually a very complicated situation in a way that Congolese are abandoned at the mercy of this man. Can you imagine that in our era, you have a country in this world where there's 10 million people who have been unlawfully killed, vanished from the surface of the earth.
10 million Congolese.
10 million Congolese lives and more. You know, when we say 10...
How many are you in total? What's the population?
At the moment, we're about 80 million. But in the last 20 years, since Joseph Kabila and before him his father have come to power, 10 million and or more Congolese have died. That tells you that is the worst conflict that have occurred anywhere in the world since the Second World War.
But under him, Joseph Kabila has been able to put Congo together, hold that country together, and put fear into the issue of violence and civil war. That's
what he's done better, because that's what he's trying. But I think at the moment, the Congolese people are not having it anymore. You know, there is only so much you can do to push someone against the wall, and then they get to that position where no matter what happened, now I've got to stand for my life. I think that is where the Congolese people are at now. But I'm appearing here today to appeal to Africans. What is happening in the Congo? It's all right, because I get that question a lot when I'm speaking about Congo, where I get people asking me, but what about the men? What about Congolese? What are they doing? They're doing a lot. They are doing what they can. But what is happening in the Congo, let's not just see Kabila. Let's not just see or hear about Rwanda interaction or Uganda interaction. What is happening in the Congo is more of recolonization of Africa, which is starting somewhere.
By who?
By the West.
Are you saying the West is giving Kabila some support to perpetuate himself in power.
Let me give you an example. In 2011, we saw a conflict in Africa, in Libya, where Colonel Gaddafi only said to his people, stop what you all are doing or I will kill all of you. He just promised to. But he did not send his army in the streets of Tripoli or any other city to go just and start killing people. That is what Congolese people have been getting every single day. Army, which are supposed to protect them, police, which are supposed to protect them, are always sent out in the street to kill them, not to scare them. At this very moment that I'm speaking with you, in Congo Central, a region of Congo, there's videos that gone viral. You see and you can hear Congolese army shooting the Congolese people like rats, careless of what they've done. Do they have weapons on them or what? No. These were just innocent people trying to protect what belongs to them when the army raided their villages. And because they stood up against them, these people are simply being eradicated. And these videos are viral. And what's the government saying? Oh, they're just a militia. Since when? Let me just tell you something about the Congo. Since Mobutu was in power until the invasion of Zaire, the then Zaire, in 1996 by Rwanda and Uganda, accompanied with a few Congolese. Congo had never known any ethnic conflict because they would like to make the whole world know and understand that Congo is all about militias, armed conflict here and there. It's nothing. We are more than 400 ethnic in the Congo. We all live in harmony. We live in great peace for decades. Since independence, the conflict of independence gone past, we've always lived in peace until the end of the Cold War. When America and the West decided, because that aspect of the economical lives is barricaded now with the end of the Cold War, they actually said it. It's just because our African leaders don't take precautions, they don't listen. And also the fact that there is no true independence with our leaders in Africa. I personally followed as a spokesperson of American government in 1989, saying that now we will need to go back to Africa to put our hands in those important minerals that we need. Subsequently, you have Kagame of Rwanda, who was trained in America. We know what unraveled years later with the genocide in Rwanda, so-called genocide in Rwanda. But people don't really realize that that genocide of Rwanda was a reason, was just an excuse for what is happening today in the Congo. That was just a phase of it.
What reason has Joseph Kabila given for not wanting to leave? I know in some of his statements he said there has been no credible person to take over from him, so he's holding on to power. But beyond that, what are some of his reasons why he has refused to organize an election? And why has he not been taken to a constitutional court in the Congo?
I believe anyone would understand that such statement from President Joseph Kabila is just a political statement. The Congo has trained so many intellectuals. Zaire has trained so many intellectuals. since the 1960s. Everyone who has been in offices in the Congo was highly qualified. Who is he today to come? What are his certificates to come and say there's no one qualified to take offices in the Congo? Is that how people take offices? There's a constitution there that dictates what people do in such places as a country's offices. All he had to do was to follow the constitution, in which he swore when he came into power, when he had elections and moved in power officially. You asked me a question to know what has the constitutional court done.
I mean, the Constitutional Court will not do anything if the opposition party do not take Mr. President to court to contest his illegal hold on to power.
There is, my answer to you about that is crystal clear, to the fact that the constitutional law court is not a free constitutional court. It politicized, if you want, and the politicians dictate to them what to do. I don't know if you would have heard of an opponent, Katumbi, there's a man in the Congo who has been willing to be a candidate to presidency of the DRC. But because he was feared, he ticked in all the boxes. Now the ruling power organized a fake case against him to have him out of the country, and gave specific orders to a court to condemn him. False allegation, false condemnation. After having done that, one of the judges had to flee the country in France, had to release everything, should give evidence and say, I am sorry, I did not sworn in for that. That man is innocent. This is what I have been threatened to do. That's why I did that. Same as the Constitutional Court. They do what is told of them, because we've got to, you've got to know that in the Congo, it seems as if President Kabila is not there for the Congolese people. He's not working for the sake, for the good health of the Congolese people. He is there for a different agenda, and he's supported for that agenda. That agenda is not for the prosperity of Congo and of his people.
I mean, one wonders why African leaders, do you know how long this is going to last for?
No one knows.
What has he said about conducting an election, maybe another 3 months, 6 months, or reviewing, changing the constitution? What are his positions? What has he said?
The thing is, it's been a roller coaster of saying one thing today and another tomorrow, not sticking and respecting one's own promise toward the people and toward the nation. Kabila has told us in the previous couple of years that he would leave and he would honor the Congolese constitution. At the end of his term, he would leave the power. We observed all the way until the end, the 19th of December 2016, Kabila refused to leave. They started talks after talks until there was some talks that resulted in a consensus on the 31st of December. They signed, what did they sign? That there should be elections at the end of 2017. There were a number of points, including the fact that the Prime Minister, throughout that transitional period, should be one from the opposition. Now, there was a man who is so long feared, who has been, because he's now since passed away, Mr. Tshisekedi Wamulumba, who's been a very opponent to President Mobutu, and now to Kabila, who was leading these talks and all that. So since this man has passed away on the 2nd of February this year, everything seems to be like, oh, well, since he's passed away, now we don't care. We have to change things. We understand that President Joseph Kabila, I'm finding it difficult to call him president, because in my head, I know that he's no longer president of the Congo according to our constitution. And that what he's doing at the moment is simply unlawful. So what he's just planning to do is to do a referendum so that he can change the Congolese constitution to add himself years to stay in power, and that he does not have to leave.
If he plans a referendum, the referendum will have to pass the test of the people's support. So if the people say, like, if the Congolese do not kick against the referendum, will he change the constitution without the referendum supporting him changing the constitution?
That is very that, because he seems to be an unconscious leader. Sorry to put it that way, because your question was already tested during the 2011 presidential elections, when every Congolese person stood up. I don't know if you remember, even here in the UK, in everywhere, House of Commons, number 10 Downing Street, we were everywhere in the Congo. Seemingly, we said Kabila has to go. Every Congolese stood up. They said he has to go. There's one thing about Congolese: we don't want no more of presidents having to go through being toppled through arms. So during the 2011 presidential elections, there was a consensus within the Congolese people that he has to go this time, but through elections. We stood up and we voted massively. Kabila was not re-elected at that time. Yet, evidently, Kabila organized a massive fraud, with false bulletin being printed from South Africa, from China, everything caught and displayed. The world leaders recognized and saw the evidence on the table. But because Kabila is not serving the people, remember, if he's serving his people, he won't be there. But if he's serving the West, neo-colonialism, then he can remain. So they went in the media and decided Kabila has to stay there. Mr. Cohen, who at the time was a rep of America in the Congo, said Kabila has to stay there, and Kabila stayed there. Okay, we relied on our constitution and said, fine, it's another 5 years. In 5 years' time, he will go. Let's see what he's gonna say. This time, there, load more excuses on the table. But the saddest thing about what is happening in the Congo, I am sure Kabila wouldn't remain eternally in the Congo. It's the massive killing of innocent people that's happening in that country. That is just appalling, very sad, and inhuman. This is the second genocide that is going. I understand the term genocide is only acceptable when it's only the majority killing the minority. But in the case of the Congo, we are being decimated by a plot by the international community giving excuses after excuses, laws after laws, giving way, giving all the newly released arms from their warehouses to Rwanda and Uganda to decimate the Congolese population.
So you feel, I mean, you think the Congolese people think this is a battle being carried out by the West against the common people of the Congolese?
We don't think. We know. They know. And I'm saying what everyone else know, and don't come here and say. Always. So many of us now saying it. But evidently, it's just clear. Listen, let me tell you, what is the population of Rwanda? Hutu and Tutsi together, 12 million. You asked me earlier, the population of the Congo. I said to you, 80 million. How can such a nation invade such a huge continent country like DRC? How can you explain that? We are not the most stupid nation in Africa. I remember, as far as I go back, a few decades back, Zaire was giving bursaries to Rwandan to study in Belgium, in UK, in France, even in the Congo. The Rwandan, at the time they had conflict and they moved to Zaire, they used to get allowances like poor people get here and unemployed people get here. They used to get it in the Congo.
In Zaire.
In Zaire. At the time, I studied with Rwandan. We treated them like our sisters and brothers. And we made this situation very clear, because as a population, Congolese people, we know very well that this has nothing to do with Rwandan population. It's only a few decision makers taking these selfish decisions against a brother nation. Remember, during the colonial time, they had to use Arabs to come and invade our countries. I don't know how it happened in Nigeria, Ghana, or other nations. I know how it happened in the Congo. They had to use other people so that their hands are kept clean to do all sorts. And it's again the same today. They're giving everything, all the donations. They are parading Rwanda in the world face to say how they are the most successful nation in Africa. I don't know if you are aware how Donald Trump now has voted Rwanda as his partner, trading partner in Africa, so that every other African country should come and take example from Rwanda. There is nothing compared what Congo has in terms of mineral wealth. What they're doing is paving the way for Rwanda. Rwanda send people in. When I say people, I mean the army, to go and kill people in the Congo. How can you imagine the fact that you will go in a village like Beni, millions of people, they found that there's oil there, they begin killing of people. And at some time you will see there's no more people, and no one asks, where is everyone gone from this village? People would have finished, vanished.
What is the government doing?
The government cannot do anything. Like I told you before, it appears that the government of Joseph Kabila is not there for the sake of Congolese people.
Let me quickly say this. We'll be getting in touch with the government of Joseph Kabila, with the office of the president in Congo for their reactions. Our studios trying to get through now. We'll see if we can get the reaction of the office of the president so that we can balance this. But of course, we do understand that the term of office, the second term, the 2 terms of Joseph Kabila expired on the 19th of December, and he was meant to have organized an election subsequently for another person to take over. We do understand that there has been no constitutional change to effect his continued stay in power. And also we do know that there has been protests by Congolese on a daily basis on the street of Congo. Some of these are some of the facts that we see on paper. However, about some of the issue of human rights abuses, we will be getting in touch with the office of the president of Congo and get more details and their real side of the story. This is not going to be the end of this program. We'll be coming up with more information on Congo, I'm afraid. And Beth Walsh, this is how far we can go on the program today. But your last take on this program.
Because this is our brother Nigerian channel, international, whatever, my appeal today really is to say I'm an African. I'm Congolese, particularly, but African in general. I'm here to say to my brothers and sisters in Africa that we must not watch what is happening in the Congo as that's a Congolese matter. Because what's happening in the Congo, like we see today, Boko Haram, which has appeared from I don't know where, in Nigeria, we've seen what happened in Sudan. We will see the same tomorrow. We are seeing already in Mali. We will see so much more of this in the whole of Africa. If I'm still alive, one day, please do quote this. Now is the time that every African should arise and say no. Congolese soil has drunken the blood of its own children. In the last 20 years, we've lost more than 20 million of our sisters, brothers, mothers, and fathers. Do what you can to lay your help to the Congolese people. We're not asking anybody to come and die in the Congo and take arms. But whatever you can, raise a voice, say something, but say no to what is happening in the Congo.
All right, Beth Walsh.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on the program today. We'll be bringing you back at some point. We're following this development in the Congo, especially with the office of the president and their response, and of course, we'll be following up on development politically in the Congo, and we hope to bring you back again at some point very soon. Beth Walsh, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, my name is Tunde Alabi. It's been a pleasure. Let's quickly cross over to the newsroom now as I bring you the news from major developments in the week that has just ended. Don't go away, and then after the news, enjoy the rest of your week and have a very good morning. Bye.